Southern man, better keep your head. Don't forget what your good book said. Southern change gonna come at last. Now your crosses are burning fast. Welcome to the Sounds Obtuse Podcast. That was Neil Young. I'm Dylan Carter, and with me as always is my trusty co-host, Christian Cruz. Christian, how are you, buddy?
How's it going, man? We got a guest in studio today.
We do.
We have our Sounds Obtuse Podcast designated resident expert and actual real life professional musician.
Real life professional
Miss
musician.
Lady A.
Lady A.
She'll be done with some related knowledge as well as some insight. But we were actually having a great conversation prior to starting this podcast, and we wanted to really just kind of dive into that a little bit more right away.
Got to. It was just a really good chat.
Yeah, it was basically women who fall asleep after watching true crime shows. So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
What's the psychology there?
I kind of posed the question to Lady A over here because I was just fascinated. I don't even know why it came up. We have no idea. The rabbit holes. I just had the question, why do women, because like my girlfriend, she can watch the most terrifying things on true crime channels and then just be sleeping away just moments later. So
all right.
Explain that to me.
So part of our conversation, can I throw it back at you before
Please.
we say what I said, but what you thought it would be? Because I think the juxtaposition of the two together makes it even more interesting.
You know what? That's fair. I'm going to own up to it. So,
yeah, there's definitely different viewpoints here.
So, I guess, like, I don't know. I sort of have always thought of it as sort of like a softcore kind of excitement thing. Not that, and I understand there's a twisted way you could take that, and that's not what I mean. I'm talking about just like, there is some fantasies and stuff out there. So I can understand why for some that might be. I do believe I might have equated it to something about a washing machine, but we're not going to get into that. But I think it was just sort of like a softcore, like, oh, okay, that's like the kind of like dime store novels.
A thrill.
That you'd pick up, the kind of like risque novels you might pick up before bed. That was my thinking, being an uncultured ape of a man.
It's almost like Dracula without the supernatural bits.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. So I was apparently quite wrong.
Well, I mean, and this is just my opinion.
This is fair.
But I said I wasn't even going to talk about it with them. I was like, not on the pod. I was like, because maybe it says too much, but maybe people need to hear it. So
I think they do.
I think just like women watch those things and they feel like they're not alone. These horrible things happen to other people. That you're not the weirdo. You're not the odd one out. That the one that had the bad luck that this happened to. That it happens to anybody.
It normalizes it, would you say?
I don't know if normalize is the right word, but it just makes you feel like you're in something instead of a part of something.
I believe I said desensitizes. Almost.
Yeah, I mean that. I think
kind
of.
Yeah, it's sort of like a.
Would you say we're splitting hairs?
But I don't.
mean, maybe.
I think
but...
you two are. I don't think either one is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We're sort of dancing around it.
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
not. We're not getting.
Yeah, I don't think.
Again, because we're apes.
I agree.
I don't think they're like normalizing. It's not normalizing because it's still horrible. So it's
That's
not
fair.
making it any less horrible. It's just making you feel like solidarity. Like there's other people out there.
Solidarity. I like that. That is certainly like the idea of that, which makes total sense once it is explained to me. I fully can comprehend why.
I get that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But the idea never popped in my head. It wasn't even a moment's thought. And I thought about it. And all I could come up with, just absolute,
getting off on it?
Absolute garbage. Yes,
So
absolute garbage. I'm owning up to it. Stop laughing at me, people.
Can I put yours in like a lower?
Oh, please.
A
yes.
lower worst
Belittle
thing.
Me. Belittle me.
No. So if I can give my hot take, so we're talking like true crime, maybe even just like hot court cases where like someone like murders their family. Would you say, right?
Okay.
Like just
Okay.
those kind of things. So I think
hot court case. Someone murders their family.
so. We'll take like a real life court case. Was it Jodi Arias? She like killed all her kids,
Yeah.
right? So I think, in a way, if we're talking about like men and females here, I think women idolize these crazy broads because like it makes them look so much less crazier in comparison, and they're like, well, I'm not that crazy, but I could be.
You mean the same?
It's like you same reason you watch Hoarders or My
That's exactly
600 Pound
what I was
Life.
just gonna
Yes,
say.
it's the exact same
Same
thing.
reason you
It's the
watch
exact
Hoarders.
same thing.
Man.
That's my hot take.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, and then you were like, "No, stop!" And I'm like, "No, he said it."
I think it's just such an it's an interesting
It's a very interesting way to think about it.
It's never really thought
So
about
it makes sense, but yeah, I mean that's just my take because the percentage.
I can't necessarily show my work, but just a hunch.
The percentage of women that deal with something like that happening is a lot higher than people want to admit.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on it.
I think eye-opening perspective.
Yeah, in other words, it makes them feel less bonkers that this world is.
And then once you say it, I'm like, well, obviously that's true. Like I don't even have to fucking think. Like obviously that makes so much fucking sense, and it makes a tragic amount of sense.
But I never thought about it before until you asked me.
But the answer was so easy for you to find.
Yeah,
Right,
because it's something you live.
But it's weird that it was so easy for I don't know.
Is it almost sad when you really think about why it was so easy for you to come up with?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is kind of a sad thing that well, that's why because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, obviously it's because of trauma.
Yeah, that is kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of world we're in?
It is terrifying. Terrifying. Well,
yeah.
On that,
it's all about perspective.
On that fantastic start to this show, as we were saying, this is the Sounds Obtuse Podcast.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome everybody.
Thank you for joining us once
We
again.
got a fantastic show lined up for you, Chris. What are we going to be talking about today?
So as I mentioned with our guest here, Lady A, she knows her stuff about some music, and much like Dylan said in the beginning, with his musical reference, his illusion, we're gonna be chit-chatting about some music, some different topics at hand, and even later on, we're going to give our final predictions for the conference championship games, the NFL.
Yeah, we got some NFL coming up. We got some big games.
We certainly do.
Final predictions. We've been proven wrong, I think, every time we've made predictions. So let's keep that.
Yeah, I think I'm like 50%, which isn't bad. Which ain't bad.
Bad news if you hear us say that we think your team's gonna win because they are going to lose.
I thought one of y'all did pretty well.
I don't know. I
think you might have done better than I did, but it might have been.
We did both agree on the Titans winning the whole thing, and that did not go over well.
Chiefs still good though. We'll talk about it later.
We'll have plenty of time for the NFL.
But as much we do have a guest today, but Dylan, my coast, like that.
Thank you. I do.
How you been, buddy?
I've been fantastic. I have been just living life, just enjoying it. I've been paying off car registration fees and all that good stuff, and spending time at the DMV. And I've just really had a positive outlook on life going in.
Get your gun yet?
After all that. What's that?
You get your gun yet?
I haven't got a gun yet. I haven't. Or have I? People planning on breaking into my house.
Block
Keep them on their fucking toes.
Dylan's going to shoot somebody.
That's, or not. Let's find out. Next week on Sounds Obtuse Podcast.
We will certainly find out.
We've been having a good night tonight. We just came back from trivia night.
We know a lot more about court cases than we thought.
Supreme Court cases, yeah, we found out. We know a lot more about them than we thought we did.
We could have.
And then what was the one we found out we don't know anything about and we thought we did? What was the... Oh, what was it? What was the first thing we were doing tonight? I don't know.
I don't know.
There was something we thought we were going to do great on. And
it was
we
the
did not.
category was the first one.
Oh, yeah.
We did pretty
It's
slow. We were just outside the top three.
I just left out 2 letters of a word.
Word categories are always our jam. Bombed it. It's fine.
Then second one was the vocab. That wasn't too bad though. I mean, we got 4 out of 5 both of those.
We did pretty good.
They were close.
It was
Alright.
it was an admirable showing, I dare say.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
But Chris, what have you been up to? Anything spectacular?
So I've been doing the usual thing. One of the things I did want to talk about this week, last week I talked about Metamorphosis.
You did the book,
Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. This week I read or listened to Catcher in the Rye. Have you listened? Lady A, have you ever read Catcher in the Rye?
Maybe.
Back in your day,
Maybe.
Dylan?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've read it, and it's crazy that you mention it because every time I think about Holden Caulfield, I think about you. I just think, boy, if this isn't
Appreciate
just
it,
a
man.
modern day Holden Caulfield walking around in his rice paddy hat and ripped up wife beater complaining about the phonies.
I'll take that. I'll totally take that. I will 100,000% take that.
So what are your thoughts on the Catcher in the Rye?
So if you never read it before, here's some spoilers. This is, I guess,
Spoiler
Chris's
alert.
spoiler book theater. It's about the 16-year-old kid who gets kicked out of school. He lies a lot, which I kind of like. I can vibe with that.
Yeah,
he's just,
same. I was
he's
the same
just
way.
doing it for the shiggles, the shits and giggles.
I was totally with you.
And then he leaves town, goes home to New York, gets a whore, doesn't bang her, And then the pimp comes back and hustles him down for some more money. Then he leaves again. Basically just wanders around a couple days, then decides to go like ice skating. And it pretty much ends. So it's like a coming of age story about like 3 days for the 16-year-old. He's a pretty cool kid. I could relate if I was 16. But if I could sum it up, I would say this goddamn bastard of a book killed me, if you want to know the truth.
Well done. I would have to agree with that synopsis. I gotta go out on a hot take real quick here. I do not like Catcher in the Rye.
It was pretty cool. I get it. I liked it. It was enjoyable. I powered through in one day. You know what I mean?
I think the only reason Catcher in the Rye is important is because the dude that killed Lennon read it and then fucking
Think
talked
so?
about it. Oh yeah, I think that's the only reason Catcher in the Rye is important. I think if that hadn't have happened, we wouldn't even be fucking talking about it.
I think it's still an interesting book. Nothing really happens in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. Like it's exactly the point of view from a 16-year-old at that time period.
The world sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone's fake.
It's great. They also called Egyptians Caucasians in there, which I thought was interesting.
It's probably not totally geographically accurate, but whatever.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Question.
Please.
Then do you recommend people read it?
I think they should listen to it. Audiobooks of the future.
So
I think you'd be great at audiobooks, by the way.
So how long was it?
It was like under 6 hours.
Under 6 hours? You think
Yeah.
people should just give it a listen?
And then you put that thing on 1.25.
Oh yeah. You gotta
Skeet,
speed
skeet,
up a little
bang,
bit.
bang.
Skeet bang bang.
That's 4 hours at this point. For that 1.5, you become a master listener. You're getting it done in 2 hours.
Damn.
Double time. A few other little bits of news. I just would like to go over with you guys, if you don't mind. You familiar with the M&Ms? The M&Ms changing their people around. Their
What are they doing?
anthropomorphic M&Ms.
What are they doing over there, Chris?
So basically, they took the sexy white go-go boots off of the green M&M and gave her some like flat shoes.
Something comfortable?
Sure, but they kept it on the brown one. They kept the go-go boots on the brown one.
Diversity.
You might say so. Some might say this is all a smokescreen because M&M is dealing with the child labor law, class action lawsuits.
Okay.
Currently, in certain parts of the world.
Can I say, just based off your description, I don't totally understand what we're talking about with these M&Ms. I thought they were candy.
You're absolutely right.
I
But
don't know why this is that important. I'm sorry if there's something larger that I'm totally missing. Or maybe I'm just a big dumb ape, like I keep saying, which I definitely am. But I don't know exactly how M&Ms and what the fuck they're wearing on their feet is in any way important.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. Some are saying it's a smokescreen for the fact that they are doing child labor laws. But I think it's interesting enough that they, how do you feel about that? Because the green M&M was pretty sexy, right?
No.
No?
No, I don't think she was.
You don't feel that way about M&Ms?
Let me sum it up this way, okay?
Come on, the brown one's naked.
I wouldn't have lingered long if she would have popped up on, like, the Rule 34 subreddit. Let me put it to you that way. I wouldn't have lingered long. I would have been like, meh, whatever. Moving on. It's not exactly an attractive cartoon, I don't believe.
I don't know, man. She got some pretty hot eyeshadow.
I don't know.
Well, she's ruined now. That's all that matters. Look at that. Dylan's looking at a picture of her. What a babe, right?
She looks like she's comfy now.
Yeah, but why did they do it? Why did they do it to the brown one? Like she can't be comfortable as well.
Maybe she's still on the up and up. Maybe this one's like, you know what? I've kind of made it where I want to be. I think it's time to kind of settle down a little bit, start looking after my family, and maybe, try to just start getting my shit together. And maybe the other one's still on the up and up.
How about a woman's perspective?
Yes, please. Take me away from here.
Maybe they just want to make sure you know that there's two girls. So the brown one has heels.
Maybe that.
All right, whatever.
Maybe we're all overlooking it drastically.
Whatever.
Maybe the female in the room is just like, you know what? Maybe it's just not that important.
Like everyone knows that because the green one was the sexy one that it's a girl. Everyone knows it's a girl. But the brown one, did you know it was a girl?
I think I did, but I mean, honestly, if you would have like
those
quizzed
stripper
me on
boots
it,
are a dead giveaway.
Well,
Like-
that's what I'm saying. If they took those away, would you know though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All it takes is a red bow,
It's so stupid. It doesn't fucking
a little bit of eyelashes. That's all you need.
It matters absolutely 0%.
Okay, a few other bits of news.
Please.
I found this out this week. This is just a personal thing. I think like in Australia, you know how they have like apple pies at McDonald's here in the States? They have like corn pies.
I'd probably eat it.
It's
That
like
sounds
I
great.
guess it's like cream corn probably. I don't.
Sweet.
So when
yeah.
I lived up in Maryland, up on the Eastern Shore, they do a sweet corn ice cream, and boy is that good. Like I mean, no cap, on God, fucking amazing.
No cap and on God.
And on God, yeah.
Wow.
I'm talking about like 0 cap. On God, it is so good. It's like one of my favorite ice creams. If you're ever up there during the like sweet corn season, because you can only get it during that time because it's like only made fresh.
Okay, I'll try it. Yeah, it's probably like the butter and the cream and
But
everything.
it's just farmland up there on the Eastern Shore, basically. And like, I mean, oh my God, dude, the best Dutch creameries and the sweet corn ice cream is just fantastic. So if it's similar along those lines, I can imagine if you have like a corn pie, whatever the fuck that is, you put
Well,
a
it was
scoop
like
of
the
ice
apple
cream on
pie
top of
shape,
that
you
shit,
know?
boy. I'd eat that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
definitely shove my apple pies in my hot fudge sundaes. I don't know if you guys do that.
I mean,
At McDonald's.
I think the last contribution Australia made to society was Vegemite. So at least they're improving.
Not a fan.
At least they're improving their fucking inventions.
This was news as well. News via TikTok.
News via TikTok from the front desk of TikTok.
I mean, the headline looked legit.
Do it.
It was a guy standing in front of it, you know, pointing upward at it, but the news looked legit. There's this zoo in Columbus that's got manatees, and they named one of the manatees after a celebrity. Any guesses?
Trump.
No.
Damn. Steve Bannon.
No.
Damn it.
It's probably not as hard as you think.
Is it not as hard as I think?
Is it a male or female?
It's a
manatee?
female. I don't know about the manatee. The manatee just named it whatever, but the female is a celebrity.
I don't know. I have no idea. Who
So
who is
the Columbus Zoo has a manatee
What does it start with?
named Lizzo.
Oh.
No, you shouldn't have done that.
Isn't that cool?
You shouldn't have done that.
It's not paying homage.
I don't think you should name manatees after living people. I think manatees, it'd be like, I don't,
Like, hi, this is my manatee.
you shouldn't name,
Name's Whoopi.
like, yeah, it's not right. Just don't. It's just not the time, I think. Just
He's my manatee, John Goodman.
I mean, that's, I don't know.
I
That's,
actually know someone, her name is Manatee.
Her first name?
what?
What is her last name? Manatee Johnson? Manatee, the Adventures of Manatee Johnson, the Manatee Girl.
I don't know her last name.
I mean, that's fair.
We'll assume it
I
was
also
Johnson.
wouldn't expect her to say it, because that'd be rude.
I get that. That's understandable. You don't want to like dox.
Stupid.
You don't want to dox Miss Manatee. You know? I understand. I totally understand.
Unique name, though.
It is a very unique name. It's not even a bad name. It's a different name. It's one that catches you by surprise, and you're like, you know what? Was it spelled just like manatee?
You're not going to forget it, though.
No, you're not. No,
No,
you're not.
you don't
That's
forget
a good point.
You don't forget a broad name, Manatee.
Sure, stop with the B word.
I mean, somebody named Chris.
I'll give you another B word. So last week we actually mentioned the festival. The festival it's happening. I actually want to recommend
When we were young.
Yeah,
is that what
yeah.
you're referring to?
They weren't on this playlist, but there's a band I wanted to recommend. Almost like it was actually divine timing that I saved it for the episode where I actually talk about music, huh? So there's a band
Almost.
called The Matches. They have a great sound. I think if you like emo music, you'll probably fuck with them. Check them out.
The matches.
Yeah, recommend the track Audio Blood.
Okay.
Give it a listen.
There's your recommendation for the day. I believe it is time for a quick break and an ad read from our sponsors. We'll be back shortly thereafter.
It can be hard out there for the internet patriot nowadays. It seems like you just can't speak the truth anymore. Without these militant hippie communist snowflakes, they are always offended. I'm sick and tired of people telling me Trump lost, vaccines work, and people deserve health care. I believe a life free from the tyranny of the liberal opinions. Now, for only 1,000 Dogecoin a month, you can protect yourself from the lack of respect for the American opinion. The Patriot Filter. The Patriot Filter will remove all the people with a different opinion from you on social media. It's time to take our country back from the radical leftists. Join the fight at patriotfilter.com. And we're back after that ad read. Thank you, Chris. That was wonderfully read. So today's topic at hand, as we said, we have our designated musical knowledge person in studio with this.
It's a rare opportunity for us to have somebody, like we have like our friends in. Not that our friends are not talented in all their own ways. ACW Reed, Kristen,
Rapper, great dude.
Obviously, they're both incredibly talented in their own ways. But to have somebody who is an actual expert, in their field.
Like degrees.
Yeah, like many degrees upon degrees. Just fantastic. Knows her stuff. I've actually had the high privilege of hearing her play.
I've heard of recordings, but I've not been there in person.
We had a lovely dinner, and I got to hear her play, and boy, it was just fantastic. She even did a song just for me, and I was very, very happy. So yes, I am thrilled to be able to just talk, sort of have a little
Try to
round,
pick your brain a little bit.
have a
too.
little round table about some music and musical discussion. So Chris, I'm sure you being a fellow musician, you've probably got a whole lot to kick off here. So I'm just gonna let you get in there. I'm sure you've got a lot.
Well, I do make my own music. This lady has actually done it like for reals, and that's credentials, people. So one of the first questions I want to ask, this is for everybody, of course. What was the first like type or like maybe as an artist or whatever kind of music you initially gravitated toward?
That's really hard.
Like at your youngest age, you remember?
Well, I mean, I started playing piano when I was 5. I was singing before then. So
Prodigy.
Clearly.
It was like always there. Music was always there. My parents had music on all the time.
Nothing stood out. Like, was it like, did like they have a particular type of music that they enjoyed that you heard more?
Yeah, I heard a lot of like the old classic rock stuff.
Okay.
You know,
Like Foreigner or whatnot?
yes,
Journey.
Yeah, and like my
Boston.
dad and I still have a lot of the same, you know, some similar tastes. I have taste in a variety of music, but my dad and I both agree like wholeheartedly on like Jack Johnson and stuff, you know. So
Okay.
like we can both just sit and enjoy that, you know. But I remember growing up, like when I was a little older, my sister just listened to country songs on repeat all day long.
Not a fan of the country music.
I don't have a problem with country music. I just don't want to hear the same song for 5 hours.
It pretty much is the same song, unfortunately.
Same song.
Well, I see you guys have your opinions on it. I you know what? Actually, this might help. I did really grow up with bluegrass.
That's different.
That is different. I can
Because
attest.
my grandparents would take us on Saturdays to country music, and we would go to a different place each week, and like bands would come out and play. So there was like 1 week a month was in Syringa, one was in Carter's Cove.
It's like up in the mountains, kind of.
No, like driving from here. They live here.
Okay.
So we would just like, I guess it was my parents' date night. Maybe I'm figuring out as I'm an adult.
Oh, okay.
You know, we would go out with the grandparents
Yeah.
for the evening, and we thought it was awesome because we got
Listen
to
to
stay up
some
so
live
late.
music.
Yeah.
What a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And they would do like raffle drawings, and we put like a little money in. and-
Dare I say, almost from the sounds of it, a possible potential hootenanny.
Maybe.
My-
And
At least a hoedown.
yeah, and like sometimes they would even ask us up, like come on up and sing or something,
really?
like little kids. Yeah, because kids are cute. Kids are always cute.
I can just imagine like Lil A singing up on the stage, "I'll Fly Away." I just think that'd be the cutest thing in the world. Little flower dress,
Is
little
that a
frog
Frank
dress.
Sinatra song?
No.
Okay.
No, it's
No, it
not.
I believe
Alright.
wasn't it originally by the Carter family? Probably. It's my
I
family.
don't know. So you were basically just like came out playing Mozart.
No,
No.
but
It's his birthday, by the way. I meant to mention that.
that's an interesting day for
It
the.
is his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
Not-
birthday, Mozart.
Not to date this, but it is his day. What better way to honor him than to talk about music?
Certainly.
Hmm.
So you were just kind of like brought up around
Yeah.
music always. Like music was just like ever present in your life.
Yeah, I started like an instrument when I was 5, and then I started with my mom taught me first, and then in 2nd grade I started taking with another teacher, and I probably took with him all the way up into middle school, so long time with him. Learned to play organ as well, learning the foot pedals and stuff like that, and then learned another instrument 6th grade, another instrument 7th grade.
Wow.
I ended up playing like in the pit in high school, just
Goodness
different.
gracious.
So
Just
all over the place, yeah.
For real.
Steel drums in college.
What are some
What don't you play?
I'm just kind of curious about
I don't play a lot. There's a lot of instruments out there. I don't play them all.
I'm really curious like what you think of like so being someone who grew up playing so many instruments and learning how to play instruments. I'm just curious, do you think that there's any skills outside of actually playing an instrument that the skills you learn in playing an instrument translate to?
I think that the process of learning something and working at it, taking lessons, continually a long-term goal, you know, working towards a long-term goal. I think the things that you learn from that definitely carry over. But I've also had like when I used to teach music in school, oh, well, music doesn't relate to fill in the blank subject. I could relate it to just about any subject.
I think
'cause
it's still
was-
working a muscle, you know?
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, like science, you're talking about the science of sound and wavelengths and stuff like that, you know? You talk about history, music history. like,
Undulation.
you talk about language. Music is a language. Like, it's another language that you have to learn.
It is.
And, you know, so, I mean, there's the, you know, aerobic aspect to it. I mean,
Boy, we told you we got a good one today, didn't we? We told him.
So would you say piano is your main jam?
It's not actually what I majored in school. I have a different instrument that I got a Bachelor of Music degree, Master of Music degree, and piano was not it because there's just a lot of pianists out there. So I picked kind of a more unusual instrument.
Okay.
She was talking about being a pianist. I believe you had some competition at one place that you worked at, and they bring in some competition. Fair enough.
Yeah.
She wants to be modest, but let's just say she had some. There is a lot of pianists out there. Apparently, so some competition brought in against her, and she smashed them. But
I don't know.
nevertheless, yeah, I was just curious if you
Sounds
had.
Obtuse expert.
I was just curious if
Designated.
you had thought that those things could translate. And you're right. You really can like take music and put it into almost anything you want to apply it to. I often talk about how you have it all together, and you seem like one of the most just put together people that I know. Our Lady A here, she just seems like she's so organized. And maybe it's a lie. Who knows? Maybe she's fooling us all. But I think that certainly, as she was just talking, like music and learning how to organize yourself and learning something.
That's a big thing.
I'm sure, especially learning those things so early, probably do translate a little bit into at least having some semblance of
almost
organization in your life.
And it allows you to take like certain shortcuts because like those brain pathways are already there.
And I mean, my mom too was super involved, so she was always making sure I was on it, making sure I practiced. I never didn't really want to practice, but she was there to encourage me and make sure I did it. And then in like middle school, they had some very good incentives in middle school for getting people to practice. And so I evidently am very rewards driven. So that
Was
worked
like
really
the
well.
the Pizza Hut like book a
No,
month?
it was better.
Better than that?
Yes.
Oh, you just get your mom to fucking do her
No,
initials for
so-
30 days and you have to read a book and you just get pizza?
No, like
Better than that?
you turn in practice cards. There were other ways to earn points, and they would have a points chart on the wall. And at the very end of the year, whoever had the most points got a season's pass to the local amusement park.
That's pretty good.
You could get no more than like 20 extra points practice a week. I ended up redeeming them both the same year my sister and I went together.
All right, so the genre of music that you play is probably different than the genre of music that you listen to. Is that a bad assumption?
No, it's not. I like to mix it up. So even like I have multiple jobs and I play different music for those different jobs. I listen to like everything. Like people will send me stuff and I just listen to it. I have the things I enjoy. I have the nostalgic things that I listened to like in high school and college.
Like I said, I'm no pro musician, but like for me, it's hard to even want to play the things that I don't necessarily like. There was a time at Food Lion where they played the same song for like 27 times in a day, and they say to get brainworm or what do you call those things? Earworms out of your head is to like actually look down what the lyrics are, so you like know what it is, process it fully. You're not just fucking running it through your head trying to figure out what the fuck it is. You just look at it, read it, and I went as far as to actually learn how to play on guitar, know the chords, sing the song and everything, but I still don't like the song.
Does it help though when you hear it?
I mean, I have a fondness for it in a sense, ironically, I guess.
Hey there, old friend.
Yeah, it's like I know you
The
back and
old
forth.
enemy.
You're not going to tell us what song it is?
It's fucking it's some
Probably don't even
it's
know.
a KT Tunstall song, man. More than
KT Tunstall.
yeah.
Wow.
I'll talk about it some other time. Don't believe
It'd
me.
be a whole pod. We can-
I can break it down.
Can you sing it for us?
Maybe.
I'm hoping.
Maybe.
I'm hoping.
What is your favorite genre? Because I know Dylan likes folk music. What about and I like.
Is
a
it like
bunch of
still
weird
classic
stuff.
rock for you?
I would say it's rock. I
Rock.
like some old
Like
stuff.
21
I like
Pilots,
some
Lynyrd
new
Skynyrd,
stuff. Like
Avenged Sevenfold.
I do like some Leonard Skinner and stuff like that, and also like stuff that was around when high school and college. Linkin Park and Evanescence, and getting into some of that like heavier stuff. And
Uncle Cracker.
Lady A
That
can also
was-
sing too.
that was the song that was always on the radio when I was in school. So
Yeah, I
that
can
one,
imagine.
I like that song better now than I did probably then because we heard it so much.
Are we referring to Follow Me?
Yes.
So that
What
was.
else would you be referring
so
to?
may I point
Isn't
out
that the only one?
that was one of the first songs that I remember as a kid being absolutely utterly addicted to. I loved that song. I was like, this is
pretty
my
good.
jam.
It's pretty good.
It's the greatest song in the world. I'd like sing it all the time. I think that might have been my first earworm. That
That-
song got
Pretty
me.
good.
And now that's like one of our friends' does that one at karaoke all the time.
There you go.
And he's so good at it.
So I don't know if you had specifically had like your first initial like musical that you gravitated towards. For me personally, it was like Elvis Presley. Like when I saw him, heard him at age like 4, I'm thinking this guy looks like a fucking Power Ranger.
Are you sure you're not?
All the
just
ladies are
talking about
clamoring.
Forrest Gump. I feel like this happened in Forrest Gump.
All the ladies are clamoring for him. I'm like, that guy's fucking cool. And he played some kick-ass music, you know, Suspicious Minds, like the harmonies and all that stuff. That was pretty good. But you're right. Like, you do kind of get exposed to what your parents listen to initially. Your parents
Yeah.
don't listen to folk.
And actually, I was thinking about what my mom had me listen to. And, I mean, there was some rock music in there. But now I'm remembering, there was some Michael Bolton. And there was some
Classics.
Mariah Carey.
Some other stuff mixed in there.
Amy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Just like all kinds of different stuff in there.
Made,
everything.
And it just made you the eclectic person you are.
I guess I appreciate most of it.
Listening to you play was very interesting because it was like listening to like a radio station.
Yeah, like very professional recording.
It wasn't like listening to like a
recital.
Yes, like you think okay, I'm gonna go listen to a friend play piano, and you're thinking of something very different from what I experienced with you, which was like, wow, this is like some of my like favorite tunes, and she's just over there jamming it out on the piano, got it going on. I loved it.
Got to surprise people.
You do, and you absolutely do. Like you walk, I will never remember the song, but we came in and you were playing one song. I was just like, what? She's playing that? It was amazing. I love it.
It was like Dr. Dre or something.
Was it Green Day?
It could have been Green Day. Actually, you know what? You might be right.
I'm trying to get her to play some Kanye West. Yeezy.
What song was it again?
You could do Runaway, or you could do.
I think that's what you said.
Gorgeous is really good as well, but I think you want Heartless.
Chris, what was for you? Like, what drove you into becoming a musician?
So I can remember as early as like 2.5 years old, sitting in the middle of the kitchen floor, surrounded by pots and pans, wooden spoons in each hand, and just fucking making as much noise as I possibly could. That's when I knew.
Nothing has changed.
That's when I knew. I was like, this is my fucking shit. It was like, this is amazing. Big pots.
How old
pots,
did you say?
Like 2.5.
Okay, so you definitely could not converse in any fashion.
I was less than 3. I probably not.
Did you see it as a way to express yourself?
I think it's just fun.
Is that what it is?
I don't know if I knew that back then, but just like being able to like unbridledly make noise and it's okay. I think that's what got me. And it's not necessarily, maybe it is with everybody who does anything, but it's not like an attention thing. It's like I want to make the biggest, loudest noise. It's like I just want to make noise. I think that's what's great about like concerts and stuff. Like we need those outlets for people who just fucking scream and have mosh pits and, go haywire for like an hour or two.
Lady A, you ever been in a mosh pit?
Don't think so.
No.
I try to avoid them. I don't like being crowded around people I don't really know.
Yeah.
So.
I remember growing up, a little budding metalhead, because my oldest brother was a big time metalhead, been to all the big bands like Slayer and such. So one year we're going to Mayhem Festival. I'm like, this is going to be it. Going to get to see Slayer, Marilyn Manson, Slipknot. It's going to be incredible.
Very nice.
And then I was like, I'd like never been to like a real festival, real metal concert. I'm ready for this fucking mosh pit. That's all I was thinking about. 2 seconds in, catch an elbow to the eye. Ran back to my brother crying.
I like when the singer draws the line. So it's
good.
Yeah.
Wall of Death.
Wall of
Death. Good times. We have
one
of those.
I went to a Death Clock concert one time. It's pretty good mosh pits there.
Great name.
I remember someone lost a sneaker. Hope they got it back.
Just a sneaker written so bad.
Yeah. Considering, I'd rather lose a sneaker than get caught in the eye, right?
Gotcha.
That shit sucks.
What do you think, Lady A, is one of the pivotal turning points of music? Be it either a person who revolutionized things or a thing or idea or something that just came along, be it 1,000 years ago or it could have been last Tuesday. What has revolutionized music? Obviously, there's been a lot of things, but just something
kind of a big
think.
question.
Auto-tune.
It is.
It's a loaded question.
I mean, I'm not saying place the definitive thing. I'm just saying like what is something that stands out in your mind?
I might have to name a few.
Sure, please.
I don't know. It's just the progression is really interesting. You look at the old instruments and how they were used, and that kind of, I think, obviously the type of instruments you have sort of just dictates your music to some extent. I mean, when I was in grad school, I played the shawm, which is like the Renaissance version of the oboe. Played the shawm. It was really cool, really fun. It's like
That sounds pretty dope. Like just
it's it's the trumpet of the ensemble. In that time, it was the loud one, so it was really fun. And we had like a professional like Renaissance band come out and like work with us and stuff. So yeah, it was really cool.
That's very cool.
Look up Pifaro. That's the Renaissance band that came out.
Want to spell that?
Piffaro.
All right, Pifaro. Pifaro.com.
So the progression of music has gotten
So
different.
yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking about just what has made the staff that it is, and then the rules like Bach and counterpoint, and it was very strict, and then there's other styles where it loosened up and it wasn't so strict. And I think my favorite styles of music are kind of going from the romantic era into like impressionism and expressionism, that sort of era stuff.
Okay.
So the stuff that's like emotional to me.
So like post Beethoven.
Even maybe some of Beethoven.
Okay, because he was very into the romance, if I'm correct, right?
I think some really big ones, and like my husband would agree, like Mahler, and then into like Debussy.
Okay.
And some of my favorite pieces like Ravel, Saint-Saëns.
I feel like Beethoven definitely would have been like metal if he like had modern instruments, bro.
You're probably
100%.
not.
There's actually some really cool arrangements of that tune.
I saw it was Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I think it was like Christmas Beethoven shit.
So I actually have been trying to learn to play one of those Trans-Siberian Orchestras, or it's either that or a Mannheim Steamroller piece on piano. I'm trying to learn it.
You gotta get like some like fire shooting flares on the side of your piano.
I'm not gonna do that. Gonna go ahead and say no to that. They might kick me out.
It'd be pretty great.
Really cool.
It would
be really cool that last time I played ever.
Go out with a bang.
Extremely
Literally.
Go out with a bang.
Do you have a favorite instrument? What it's like listening to, playing? Because I love a good six string.
I would say there's a couple of things, maybe not my favorite, but that I'm interested in. So we never had strings program where I grew up, so it was band was it. So I had always wanted to learn like the cello. I thought cello was beautiful. And there's
it's like a big old violin, right?
Yeah, it's like the third largest. I guess kind of like your tenor. I don't know if they would consider it that, but I would say your tenor. And actually, I think I mentioned I play oboe because I was talking about playing the sham, but the English horn is the tenor version of my instrument, and I really enjoy playing that because it's got like, the William Tell Overture, that big solo, on the side of the mountain. I don't know, I'll have to William Tell Overture English horn solo because it's very, as soon as you hear it, you'll be like, everybody knows that, that tune.
So you can play that.
Yeah, I could play that.
That's good shit.
And that instrument, it's like, it's really tall, but it just looks like a giant oboe. And so that, and then also the oboe is related to the bagpipes, and
so you can blow
hard.
It
really?
It is.
I did not know that. That is news to me.
So the inside the tube that you blow into the bagpipes is a double reed, just like the end of an oboe.
And we got like bite down on it, right?
No, well, on the oboe or
the reed.
Well, you don't really bite down. Actually, the oboe reed, the opening is so small. If you bite on it, you'll close the opening and you can't get any air through. So,
she knows everything.
Well, I mean, I make them. I have to make those.
I guess the wreath kind of like makes your breath not come in all at once, right?
It just is how it's delivered to the instrument.
Directs the airflow, right? It's like the point of the reed.
It's just how it's, the oboe reed. Like, imagine oboe. If you're not familiar with the oboe, imagine like snake charmer instrument.
I just realized I have two very different. I mean, I kind of understood this, but I have two very different musicians sitting in front of me. This is just an incredible place to be because it's like I was just thinking of them both as musicians, but now I'm realizing like Chris is an amazing guitarist. Our intro is provided by Christian,
and I love it.
Truly.
Yeah, I mean Christian. I mean that's not all that he does.
But yeah,
folks.
This is why I said like I'm professional musician.
But it's like I mean he does really good things with guitars, but it's like hearing you guys talk and it's like wait a minute, Chris doesn't even understand the basic operating methods of a reed.
No.
Which is interesting because I thought of him as a musician. So to have someone who's like, no, I know exactly how the fucking reed works, obviously.
But then I got like pedal boards and like fucking mandolins in here and shit.
You guys are both so distinguished in your own rights in specific types of music. And Lady A, you're probably more broadly acquainted with music. But still, it's like you guys have your own niches. And it's just so interesting that music is so broad that you can be so smart about it and then so aloof on other things and like not know anything about
That's my favorite part about it.
About a woodwind. That's just
well,
crazy.
Like, Chris, do you read music?
I can.
Like, you understand
But
what you have to do. But
I'm not like fluent at it, but like I could
But if you were to choose, you would read chords.
for sure.
Right. Whereas I was started reading music. So reading music is what's normal to me.
I mean, I started with like the recorder in like 4th grade and stuff. You know, you start reading music and whatnot. But eventually I stopped playing recorder.
But like if I had my choice, like you put a piece of music in front of me, as long as it's not something I need to practice a lot, like I can read it the first time because I don't have to listen to it even. I can just look at the music and read that. You know, like I said, it's a language.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that.
definitely like the best way to understand how to learn a piece.
I think it's
sure.
probably the best
or tell someone how to learn a piece.
It's the best way to ensure a piece is performed most accurately to the way it was intended to be performed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You got to follow the recipe.
Yeah. Because I even have like tablatures like for guitar, and it shows like the actual like the 5 on the the 3rd string and the 7 on the 7th string or whatever, but it still has the musical arrangement in the on the staff.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, you can still play that.
Piano, vocal, guitar. Tab.
Yeah. It's all good stuff.
I did want to ask one more. This is sort of a big one. Chris and I were actually talking about this earlier, and I was wondering if you had any thoughts about this. So Chris alluded to the fact that I love folk music. Grew up listening to it. You talked about bluegrass. I am from bluegrass country. I am from Western Kentucky. So I grew up with a lot of folk music, a lot of bluegrass. And music was something that was supposed to be localized and sort of like something that was central to a locality. And then you would go to another locality and they would have different songs and stuff like that. So like traveling singers and like banjo pickers and stuff became a big thing. Because that was the way that music really traveled. Do you think that the radio and the standardization almost of music has done anything to hurt music? Because I personally do. I think that you don't have individualism in music anymore. You have music made for the hit parade, as Pete Seeger might say, not music made for the things that are happening in your city or your town, but rather things that you want everybody in the world to be able to relate to. You're no longer focusing on your target audience is no longer the people next door to you. They're the people around the world that are going to be buying your CDs. Do you think that has had a huge impact?
I mean, I would definitely not say it hasn't. Like,
Okay.
I would say maybe it has, because sometimes when you start to get like a standard of something, then you start to normalize that. Anything outside of a certain box isn't interesting to people anymore, or it's weird and we don't want to be weird and things like that. Yeah, so I totally get that. I mean, I don't know, limiting your creativity maybe, making you think it has to follow these rules. You know, some of the best stuff that comes out there is when somebody decides to change things up.
Like the rules that don't even exist.
Yeah.
And I see like I'm often singled out as like the weird one when like the question gets asked of like, so what kind of music you guys like? And everyone's like, I like classic rock, I like country, I like this. And I'm like, I really like just like some old folk songs or maybe like some good old Union hymns. And everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, but see, that's folk music. Folk music is the songs of the people.
I like folk music. I
Yeah,
do.
that's what folk
Maybe
music
not the Union hymns per se,
Right.
but the folk music I get, you know.
Yeah, you get
but
what
the
I'm
Union
saying.
hymns is what makes it you. So
Certainly. But I see it as just like, it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy to me that like the music of the people, folk music, has become this like weird niche thing. And that like, if you want to not be looked at like you're crazy when someone asks you like what kind of music you like, you almost got to say like, oh, I like pop or classic rock or the stuff that everybody
Everything
likes.
except country.
Everything except country. That's the
I
unanimous
like to
vote.
run to rap music.
I like to run to metal. It's like System of a Down. Just
Oh, well, that's good stuff.
I like to
go a little nuts.
I like to run to spirituals. Just jogging down this. We
We're
shall
gonna make it up to heaven.
overcome.
We're gonna get
Seriously?
to the middle of
Are
the
you
sky.
serious?
I'm dead serious.
That's amazing.
If you ever see me just like riding the bike or walking to work or something like that, it's probably a Union hymn or something like that.
Can I say something?
The
I
Pete
was
Seeger.
riding a bike one time, and I like to sing
One
when I'm
time?
riding a bike.
Just once.
Yeah, I
Just
was.
once. Never doing that shit again.
So I was riding down Jefferson Avenue. It was dark time, right? And I'm singing my favorite Death Clock song, Laser Cannon Death Sentence. There's a line in the song where it goes, die, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. And I passed this guy. And it was great because I didn't realize I passed him until I did it afterwards because I would have died of humiliation. But I just like full committed, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, well,
There you
might have
are.
ruined that guy's night.
He definitely shit his pants a little bit.
Like full on, like like death growl, like my best Louis Armstrong impression.
Amazing.
Just screaming it. It's fantastic.
So I think I got I know it's sort of just the off the wall kind of topic, but I think I just saw the opportunity with two fantastic musicians in the house. We got to talk about music a little bit. So I got out most of the stuff I wanted. Is there anything you guys wanted to say before we wrap up here?
Okay, I did want to get one thing.
Go for it.
So, just like, who is your number one all-time favorite musical artist that you like to listen to?
I don't have a
You
favorite.
don't have one?
No.
No?
No, I have like different things I go to for different moods.
I get that, but you don't have like a number one?
I don't think so. I mean, if I were to think like into the oboe world where
No, I'm talking like more like modern acts.
Right, yeah, no, probably not.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I don't know. I mean like I would say
That's
one thing
almost
one
more
day.
of a hipster answer than Dylan would give. What would be yours?
Where's the bell? Hit the bell, Christian. It finally happened.
What would
Dust
be-
off the bell.
What would be yours?
What, that I gave a weirder answer than you?
A more hipster answer. Ask the question again.
So who's like your number one favorite artist? Some people like said could be fucking Bob Dylan.
I was
Maybe
gonna
some
say, is it
people
Bob
like
Dylan?
Queen.
It's as much as I want it to be Bob Dylan, it's probably not. It's probably Pete Seeger as far as my single favorite artist, Pete Seeger.
Yeah, he does some good stuff. I hear listen to you when I'm in your company. It's good stuff. For me, my personal favorite would be Beck. Straight up Beck. He's a weird guy. I love him. He makes some crazy music. Listen to Odelay. If you've never heard him, check out Odelay.
I love how he can just sing about anything.
It's great. It's
I
fantastic.
had a roommate in college who loved Bjork.
Oh God!
Can I tell you? There was a celebrity death match back on MTV. It was like the two, just like the oddball musicians. It was Beck versus Bjork, right?
Was it really
yeah, it was like odd.
I love how I brought that up there.
It was like odd one-syllable musicians that start with B, right? So Beck versus Bjork, and then of course it ends in the only way possible. Bach comes down in a time machine and kills both of them.
That's just really what we're talking about here. That's really what we've been talking about the whole night, honestly. Thank you for summing that up. So, with that being said, I think we got out everything we needed. Before we move into the last segment, we're going to take one more break, one more ad read, and we'll be right back. This episode of Sounds Obtuse Podcast brought to you by Tyson's Bison. Try Tyson's Bison, the best ground beef you'll ever buy. No more whining and complaining on the way to the store when all they have is rabbit. Order directly from us. We proudly develop, manufacture, and ship out straight to your doorstep, 7 days a week, 5 months a year from June. What is this? Why so specific? Oh, God. It's so dumb. What kind of company is this? All right. They ship to your doorstep 7 days a week. I can't do it. Oh my God. 7 days a week, 5 months a year, from June to October. The best bison is here at Tyson.
And we're back. Thank you for our sponsors, Tyson Bison. Dylan, thank you for the ad read.
Absolutely.
We got one more thing before we close out the pod. One more official piece of business here. You want to take it away?
Yeah, I think so. So the past couple weeks during the NFL playoffs, we have been playing a fun game of say which ones are going to win and then watch those teams lose. So in keeping with that tradition, I think we should keep it up. Lady A is actually also an expert in football. She has literally never in her life ever been wrong about a prediction on the NFL playoffs. So I'm sure she's going to keep that going.
Never.
Right. I guess it's easy to have that when you've never made a prediction on football.
As I said.
Hey, take the wins where you can get them.
Exactly.
Speaking of wins.
Take that W, as the kids may say.
You don't want that big L.
No, you don't. So who we got playing?
So last week, the Cincinnati Bengals were victorious against the Tennessee Titans. I had Tennessee that game.
We both did. Yeah, that was the official team of the pod, and of course they died.
Yep.
My husband's from Cincinnati, so.
Is that who you're rooting for?
I mean, yeah, probably.
You were pulling for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they play another team this week. The Kansas City Chiefs beat out the Buffalo Bills. So we have the Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals for the AFC Championship.
Bengals versus Chiefs.
Yep.
All right. So you say you have the Bengals, Lady A.
I would say that I like to cheer for the underdog, and
The Bengals.
let me finish. And even when I lived, and I hate to say it, even when I lived in the Cincinnati area, I was never really a Bengals fan. I used to say that if they could all stay out of jail at the same time, they could probably have a pretty decent team.
Hot take.
Sorry, did I do that?
I love it.
But I definitely became a Reds fan out there for baseball.
Okay.
I love my sports. So I have also, though, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember along the way where it was, but I'm pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs knocked out someone I really wanted them to knock out.
So you got beef with the Chiefs.
I'm glad that they knocked him out.
Oh, yeah. She won them gone, but the Chiefs
And
came in for her.
I do think that what the Bengals are working with is going to make it very hard for them to be victorious over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs are at home. And speaking of home, they got the quarterback, Mahomes. Kid's looking great out there.
He is.
Did you know he is actually Mahomes?
Mahomes.
We hang out. Yeah. We actually hang out 7 months out of the year. It's incredible. Seems
like a cool guy. You invite him on the pod sometime.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, he'll be here.
So do you think he's going to win the AFC Championship game? Because I don't want to lose her on our podcast.
So I personally do. I'm going to be pulling for the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs in that game.
I do too.
I like Mahomes. Mahomes reminds me of a young Colin Kaepernick, just like his ability to scramble. He's not like quite as fast out of the pocket as Kaepernick.
I think he's more concise with his decision making.
Yes, he's a tactician. Like he drops back, and you can almost see like the wheels turning.
I haven't seen someone pick a defense apart since probably Peyton Manning. Honestly.
You can almost see the wheels turning in his eyes. As soon as he drops back, he reads, is there somebody open? Nope, well, time to go. And he doesn't even waste a second thinking about it. I think he's just a great quarterback, tough to pin down, tough to beat.
I think the biggest thing is that he's been here before. This ain't his first rodeo in the playoffs. Yeah. Coach Reed, so many.
When's the last time the Bengals saw this far?
Couldn't tell you.
I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
They got some cobwebs on their trophy cases.
Their way, if they win, I think it'll be an upset. But, I think it's going to be a great game regardless.
I mean, there were a lot of, turnovers in those games, which was the defense making the plays. So the offense, especially, the offense and Bengals, the offense, I think, is going to be a huge
So the
difference.
Chiefs game, that ended with a play in overtime, right?
That was the
Chiefs.
Was that the last one? Whatever the last one was.
That was Chiefs and, what are they called? Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs and Bills. It was Chiefs and Bills. Yeah, that was game of the century. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then Cincinnati, Tennessee, field goal to end the game. Also field goal to end the game. San Fran, Green Bay.
Yeah, so 3 of the 4 games were 4 seconds left, field goal to win the game.
Wow. Insane.
This is one of the better weeks.
That's what you want the playoffs to be.
And then the fourth one went to overtime and won by what? I guess they did get a touchdown, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The San Fran game was wild.
It was kind of an anticlimactic end to that last game, though.
But I mean,
that's how they all are.
If you get to overtime, that's not anticlimactic to me. Like you've done it. So yeah, so we had San Fran beating Green Bay. Turns out Aaron Rodgers didn't just need to vaccinate himself from COVID, also needed to vaccinate himself from 49ers.
Props to the commentary team who said it would be a field goal.
Did they really?
Or
there were
teams.
some, yeah. There were
Teams.
some of the commentators said that, yeah.
Special teams, yeah.
They would win by a field goal.
One of them, I forgot who it was.
Coach Stradamus over there.
One of them literally said a blocked field goal.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was dead on. It was crazy.
I believe one of those commentators was also me. Was it not? Because
you
and I were watching that game together, and did I not say they're going to block this field goal? And then they did.
And then we had the game, the Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fuck Tom Brady.
I was really happy with the
Tom
results
Brady
of
lost.
that game.
That's all that matters. Tom Brady lost. The LA
Yep.
Rams are moving forward to the NFC Championship game to face the San Francisco 49ers.
So who you got?
I gotta go with the Rams because they knocked out Tom Brady, who got a penalty flag for talking shit. Refs only gonna take that.
It's a pretty good time.
Ed Hockley knows what he's doing. He's been in the league a long time. He said, "Not today, Brady," and it might have cost him the game. LA Rams over the San Francisco 49ers for me.
So I want that to be the result. And it's really funny because, people everybody has vendettas. They either love or hate the Cowboys, the Patriots, stuff like that.
Yeah, the Niners are a very contentious team.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think they were, but I had a friend in first grade who, when I grew up, we were Redskins fans. God help us. So I just, rooted against any team. So when my friend was at school who liked the 49ers, would always point out when they were playing the Redskins.
They were
and all
big
that stuff.
at that time,
Yeah,
too.
he was super into that. So I always was rooting against him. So for like my entire life, I've like rooted against the 49ers. But my husband pointed out that there was a Super Bowl a while back that was Bengals 49ers, I believe.
Really?
So
Who won?
I think the Niners.
Definitely the Niners.
Definitely Niners.
But he was like, be fun of like the 80s maybe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Like
Okay.
a long time
Probably,
ago.
yeah. While back.
And yeah, so he thought that would be cool, and I'm like, I don't think that's going to be the result at all. But you know,
So you would like it to be Bengals?
I'm kind of indifferent.
Or I'm sorry, I said Bengals.
You want Bengals Niners?
You want Bengals Niners?
No,
You want Bengals
Rams.
I don't care who wins the first game. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
That's why I think Chiefs
Overall.
Rams.
Okay.
That's Super Bowl I'm going for.
I think it's going to be Chiefs Rams for the Super Bowl. And you know, stranger things have happened.
Of course.
And like we actually were thinking it was going to be Green Bay. My husband's like
That was a hell of a game. They're all hell of a game.
Brett Favre fan, you know, so he
Should've
kind of
came out of the
back
last
then
play.
and then
I like the
different
Rams,
teams.
but I'm rooting for the Chiefs overall. I think they could do it.
I'm gonna be. I'm probably gonna be pulling for the Chiefs overall, but I'm gonna be pulling for the Niners against the Rams. I like the Niners, and I'm
Unless
interested.
Cincinnati pulls an upset, then
I'm interested in seeing Chiefs.
all bets are off.
Chiefs and Niners, and I think Chiefs are gonna get it overall.
So that's our predictions for the NFL playoffs.
Yep, cannot wait to be wrong.
See what happens.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I have a couple more things that I want to end out the podcast with.
Sure, round it out.
So it is of many different kinds of monthly awarenesses, weekly awarenesses. One of the big ones in January is National Blood Donors Awareness Month. Any of you guys are good blood?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
actually haven't.
I haven't either.
No, I have several times.
I've never given.
She's better than all of us.
However, yeah, I'm a leech on society. So I've never given, but I've been given
A recipient.
blood.
Oh wow! See, I have never received blood, so at least I'm not taking it away from people.
So yeah, I almost when I was in kindergarten, I want to say I had my tonsils taken out. There's some complications. I was vomiting up blood, that sort of thing. So I almost died. You know, this podcast might not be here without people who donate blood, because without that, I would have lost way too much. It's a specific type. So yeah, I remember I was up in a hospital bed with butterfly stitches in my arms, getting blood transfusions, basically. Watching George of the Jungle and Mortal Kombat VHS reruns. Bad time. But I'm thankful for people who donate blood. And it's a shame we can't sell our own blood, like in the Chinese black market, because...
Well, you can sell plasma.
She's like, "Oh no! By all means, you can."
You can
yeah,
sell plasma.
but like they're... What are they going to pay you?
Huawei's probably got a market.
What are they going to
for
pay you?
it,
Like $50, and then they're gonna sell that for like $20,000 to someone who needs it.
But you got something. And you can do it more often because
you're
you
helping
didn't lose
people.
your whole blood.
Yeah, I mean that's the important part, but it's fucked up that like they're getting a bigger cut.
Well, that's how it always is, though.
Do you think
I just feel like we need unions for blood donations.
Do you think to put your money where your mouth is, we should go give blood?
I would love
There's
to.
a shortage. I've heard that there's a
there really?
shortage.
I know
but
you gotta go
there's-
for like a Saturday orientation and stuff, but I would love to do it at some point because
Well-
it really has meant so much for me.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a shortage, and there's also a shortage of people to work to do the things because you know the situation we're dealing with all the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. Imagine blood donation during COVID.
Yeah, and if you were like over in Europe in the 80s, it's like, oh, you might got mad cow, so we can't take your blood. You know, that sort
Yeah,
of
I'm
thing.
not like against needles. I'm not like afraid of needles or anything.
Me either.
I find them.
No, bitch.
I find the bigger ones that like stay in your veins and shit uncomfortable because like I feel like I can't like move my arm and shit, but I'm not like afraid of them. So I think if I could go with my trusted coast.
Yeah, we should do that. I'd love to do that.
We should do that. We should go together.
Yeah.
We could hold hands, do a little
Eat some
pod about it,
cookies, drink a little orange juice.
interview the people taking our blood.
Yeah, they probably see a lot of crackheads.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of those.
Here come two more.
I have kids. Lots of
Allegedly.
needles.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, I bet.
hospitals.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I have my best friend faints at the sight of needles basically, and he tells people that, and then they always tell him whenever they go to get take blood or something, they tell him he's not going to faint, don't worry about it, and then he faints. Imagine that.
I had someone pass out in front of me in health class in like my freshman year of high school.
Oh gosh.
And like they were showing a movie in health class and blood, and he just hit the floor and his head bounced on the floor. I mean,
Yep. I've been there. We had a girl. She was working with us previously, but it was her first day actually on the job, and we're drawing blood on a dog for like a flea worm test or whatever. And sure enough, just hit the ground, crumpled.
sometimes.
It's good to know if you have that issue though, like before you're like.
She was fine after that though. Totally fine.
Dealing
Drawing
with
blood,
traumas and
sticking them in
stuff.
jugulars and whatnot.
It's probably good to like know your limit before going into something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
It's probably a good idea.
Speaking of knowing a limit, that sounds like a pretty good time to end the
I
podcast.
think so. I did want to give one shout out.
Please do.
I just want to give a shout out from the entirety of Ukraine. I wanted to give a shout out to Germany. You know, a lot of countries out there are pulling their weight right now. They're seeing the looming threat on the horizons, and they're doing what they can. And everybody, you know, everybody's trying to jump in and give Ukraine what they can. You know, you got Britain sending in troops, armor, anti-tank personnel. America about to buff up the Eastern European states with some troops. Lots of fun stuff. So thank you, Germany. From the people of Ukraine, those helmets that you sent, thank you. All those helmets you fucking sent them, they're really going to put those to good use. They are so happy to have received your fucking helmets. Thank you, Germany. You're doing great. And with that, I think we got a pretty solid episode here, guys. It has been a blast having two stellar musicians, professional, amateur, both fantastic in their own ways.
Her more so. Let's be honest.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Appreciate you.
Please come back. Please come
We'll
back.
have
This has
to.
been so much fun. We loved having you.
We'll certainly have to. With that said, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Have a great night. Where are you saving all this? You got a big old hard drive?
I got a.
Let me tell you, I've seen that
Stop.
thing.
Stop.
I want to plop
Stop.
it up on a deli scale.
Thank you.
And look at it.
Thank you, Chris, for letting that one slide by. And Dylan, shut up.